Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so back here again today, second stream of the day. So we're going to be doing a new case here tonight. Always love doing a new case. So this is the new Antec NX420. 420, don't you love it? The NX420. So how can you go wrong with a case called the NX420? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Alright, so anyway, we're going to be building in this new case, so we'll check it out in a bit more detail when we get to it. But we're going to be building Kyle's PC, and I just remembered I have not sent Kyle a message to let him know that I'm starting. I'm just so keen to start this build and get into this new case that I haven't sent him a message. Alrighty. All right. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. That's the good thing about live, you know. And I'm not going to proclaim to be an expert at this live streaming, live broadcasting thing. I am very much still learning with regards to doing all this and putting all this together, and also actually presenting in a live format. So from time to time there'll be bloopers and stuff like that. I don't really care. I don't. Some people are too proud to do this sort of thing because, you know, they're embarrassed about how they might look, or if they might stumble, or they might make a mistake or something like that. I don't care about things like that because I'm very much aware that everybody makes mistakes, everybody forgets things, everybody stuffs things up. It's just how we are as humans. We get distracted, etc., etc. So I'm more than willing to stuff things up live. It doesn't bother me. It's entertaining for people watching. So yeah, happy days. All right, so I think Kyle's on here now. So let's get started here with the build. So Kyle has got a full setup here. There's a keyboard, mouse pad, headset, monitor, all that's going with this rig. So we had to sort of come in at the right price. So this is kind of like, you know, what you get when you don't waste $1 on anything. Just get everything that you need that's essential, and then, you know, gives you a bit of room to upgrade things in the future. So got a nice case here, so, you know, there's nothing stopping Kyle in the future from doing a CPU upgrade and putting in something more powerful with a liquid cooler and stuff like that. He'll be able to fit that in this case. So it's always good to have those sort of options for the future. Like, one of the problems with buying one of those like Alienware PCs in those random cases that they've got is when you open them up, there's very little room inside, and there's very little room which means there's very little room to upgrade. If you want to put a bigger graphics card in there, you can't. If you want to put, you know, you want to do this, you want to do that, you're very limited. Whereas a case like this is called a mid-tower case, and this supports all but the absolute longest graphics cards on the market. I think this even goes up to 330 it supports, which is pretty long. So yeah, quite good there in terms of its compatibility and all that. So like I said, plenty of room to upgrade in the future. So we have the i3-10100F here for the CPU. So this little CPU is essentially unopposed. AMD doesn't have an option that's available at the same price. So Traditionally, this would have gone up against like a Ryzen 3100 or a 3300 or something like that. Those chips aren't really available at the moment, and I don't have any ETA as to when we're going to see those cheaper chips from AMD again. So at the moment, if you've only got around 150 bucks to spend on a CPU, this is your boy. And so we're going to be putting it with the MSI B460 Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard. This board's got two M2 slots, but we'll check it out in a little bit more detail when we unbox it. Hey Mick, how you going? And so for our memory here, we've got 16 gigabytes of 8-data Spectrix D41. We have a Crucial P1 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD. And we've also got a 1 terabyte hard drive here to install. Our graphics card here is the RTX 3060. This is the gigabyte. Is it the OC edition? It sure is. And we're going to be powering everything here with this Cooler Master 650 watt 80 plus rated power supply. This power supply here comes with the 3-year warranty, so that's an important thing to look for when choosing your power supply. A lot of people think it's all about, oh, I need a gold rated power supply or anything like that. The colours and the rating of the 80 plus, that's to do with the efficiency of the conversion of AC to DC power. So that's what you want to look for, the gold and stuff like that. That rating system is what you want to look at if you want an efficient power supply, not a long-lasting, durable, etc. power supply. That you can determine by the warranty, because the manufacturer of a particular unit that's built to the absolute highest standards, they'll put a 10-year warranty on that, because they know it's top quality stuff in there. Whether it's 80 plus efficiency rating or not, if it's got a 10-year warranty on it, and it's from a reputable company, you can guarantee that that is a top quality unit inside there. That is durable, that is made to last. So a lot of people just continually confused about what the 80 plus system is, and I'm just going to assume that it's a case of like it's intentionally a little bit misleading the way that they market it, and then it's just like people with the wrong ideas in their head just start talking and telling other people, and then these bad ideas and bad information kind of spreads. So you don't need, unless you are worried about your power bill and stuff like that, and that's why you want to spend more on your power supply, because how much energy it uses is important to you. But the thing is, that's like hardly any PC user. People don't think about how efficient their power supply is. They care about how long lasting, how durable it is. That's much more popular with people. And so that's why I say to people, you look for the warranty to determine the overall quality of your power supply. You can get power supplies with a 1-year warranty. If you're familiar with Australian consumer law, that's basically the minimum they have to apply to their product to be like certified by not certified, to comply with Australian consumer law. So that's the 1-year warranty is like the price of admission, essentially, to the marketplace if you're building a product like a power supply. The next step up for that is like 2 or 3 year warranties, and that this one here is a 3 year. So I try to include 3-year warranty power supplies wherever possible. Sometimes budget just does not allow, and things are really tight, and we have to do other ones. But 3 years is generally what I like to see with a power supply, because that 3-year warranty will fall in line with the warranty of the graphics card. It'll fall in line with the warranty of the motherboard, the CPU, and usually the hard drives and the storage devices as well. So in general, 3 years is good. You go over 3 years, what I say to people is you'll potentially be able to use that power supply in your next build. So if you get a power supply with a 10-year warranty and it's like a big 850 watt unit, that's probably going to be okay in 5 years' time when you're like, right, I just need a whole new computer now. I'm going to do a whole new build. That power supply will still be under warranty, so you may as well use it again. It's a power supply. Alrighty, so we got a few more comments here. Mick's asking about Chris's phone. We got to send him some videos and fill out a form and stuff. It's just a bit of paperwork. It's all good. It's all good. We will get there. But yeah, they sent me like a an instruction web page on how to do a factory reset on the phone and stuff like that. And they're like, make sure you get all your stuff off it. And it's like, dude, it's like a critical failure. It won't turn on at all. It's like memory chipset problem, guaranteed. So yeah, but they don't, as like you never trust what the customer says. You just never trust it in this industry. So they'll be treating it as the same. So that's why they'll want the video footage. So I'll just show them in the video footage exactly what it's doing, and they'll take one look at it and go, oh shit, yeah, that's fucked.
Give me a new one.
Do you want this box, babe? You were going on about these boxes. All right. So. Yeah, the Lazy Susan is a really good idea. I'm not going to tell you who I copied it off, but all good ideas in the business world are copied at some stage. Alright, so let's have a look at this motherboard. So once again, MSI providing the right balance of quality and value with their cheaper end motherboards. Never trust the consumer. Yeah, exactly. So their reply to me is just the standard one. I got it and I was just like, yeah, I've already tried that, eh? Yep, done it. It won't work. I just clicked the link and I'm like, yeah, I've already done that button combination. I already tried that. It was like the first thing I tried. Alright. So let's have a look at this motherboard. So at the top here we've got 8 pins of CPU power. We've got some relatively small heat sinks and a MOSFET VRM. But we can't overclock on this motherboard anyway, so not going to be an issue there. We've got our LGA 1200 socket here, which stands for Land Grid Array, which means that the pins are actually in the socket. The CPU just has touchpads. Got these two little pins up here, and what they are is they're the chassis intrusion pins. If you wanted to hook up a chassis intrusion device, which is basically a couple little pins there with a cable. Cable's connected to the side of the case, so if someone removes the panel, that comes unplugged, and then it logs that it's come unplugged in the motherboard, and then the next time you turn the computer on, it'll go chassis intrusion detected, and it'll tell you what time that person got in there and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool, but not really a feature that too many consumers use. So over here we've got our memory, so we've got 4 slots, 2 channels. We've got our 2 fan headers here. We've got 4 little lights here called the Easy Debug LED, you can see that. So they sort of give you a bit of an indication as to what the problem is if your computer won't turn on properly. So we've got our main ATX power here for the motherboards. This powers everything else on the board. Obviously CPU powers the CPU. We've got a couple of fan headers around here. So that's a total of 4 just in this part here. We've got 2 SATA ports in a horizontal orientation there, and we've also got 2 in the vertical orientation. Then down the bottom here we have our front panel connection header there for our on-off, reset, LEDs, etc. This little header above it there, that's for our diagnostic speaker. And then we've got, what have we got here? We've got trusted platform module header here. We've got our USB 3.0 header. We've got 2 USB 2s. And it looks like we've got COM port and serial or something here at the bottom. Then we've got 12 volt RGB, 5 volt RGB, and obviously our front panel audio connectors are there. These are our little gold audio capacitors, and all this stuff around there is related to the audio. And our audio jacks at the back as close as possible to the rest of it there. The other important thing to note is on MSI motherboards, the clear CMOS header is always located next to the battery. So if you don't know what any of the listings of what the headers are mean on the board, if you look for the header that's next to the battery on an MSI board, that will usually be the clear CMOS header, and it'll be marked as JBAT, just FYI. And then we've got our CNVI Wi-Fi card. See, it's actually a little card in there. It's just like the card on those ASRock motherboards that you see plugged into the slot. And it's just in a vertical orientation there on this little thing, and then it looks like your motherboard has built-in Wi-Fi. But that's how all the built-in Wi-Fis actually are. It's actually still just that same card that you see in the slot on the ASRock motherboards. So we've got gigabit Ethernet, 4 USB 3.0s. We've got some display outputs here. None of these are actually going to be in use for this build, so we won't even worry about calling out what they are, but none of them are going to be in use. But if you were to buy this board and you were to put a CPU with onboard graphics in it, you could hook up your old VGA monitor. Imagine Windows 10 on an old VGA monitor, the old, like, you know, the old tubes, CRTs. Good times. I can't imagine Windows 10 like not being, you know, in the sort of like the 1080 resolution format. Can you imagine it in a little box, babe?
That would look weird.
It would be weird, right? Anyway, we've got a PS2 port here, 2 USB 2s there, and that is our rear I/O. And then the only other things we haven't talked about is just this stuff in the center. As I said at the start of the video, I've got 2 M2 slots here. Really good feature to see. I like seeing boards with at least 2 M2 slots. And we've got a PCIe X16 slot here, and we've got 2 X1s. Note that there is not a X4 slot that is PCIe X16 length. So if you needed to plug in devices that required a PCIe X4 interface or X8, you couldn't plug them in. You obviously can't plug them in there without using a riser, and obviously it would run at the reduced X1 speed. What else we got? Just the chipset under here, and realistically that's all of the main features on this motherboard. What's that?
Oh, Aaron says, love your knowledge, Tim. I built my last 3 PCs, but I always forget after building them, like a mother forgets giving birth. It's a stressful time. I don't know if they forget.
Alrighty, so let's get started here. So I'm going to start with the CPU. And where is my knife? That's not a knife. That's a pair of scissors. So you won't expect me to say that. Alright. So like I said, our pins are in the socket here, being a land grid array or an LGA type socket. So AMD are going to be changing to LGA sockets for their standard consumer chips at the next generation, I think. So no more bent pins on CPUs, no more, oh, can you fix my CPU for me? Instead it will be more people going, hey, I dropped my CPU into the socket, can you fix the pins for me? So that'll be, instead of repairing CPUs for people, I'll be repairing people's motherboards. Alright. So we've got, being the i3 10105 here, we have the improved Intel stock cooler with the copper center there. So yes, these black ones aren't just like black to be cool, they are actually different. And so we're not going to do what we did the other night where we forgot to actually press down on our clips. We're going to do it right now and get it out of the way so we don't forget later. That seems like it makes a lot of sense. Alright, we can plug that into our CPU fan header. There we go. I forgot. These heat sinks here are just pinned on. They're not like bolted on. So you can't actually, don't ever try to pick these up by that, because you'll actually feel the pins sort of bend. So there's no thermal paste under these, but there is a thermal pad, which is okay. It can lose contact intermittently and come back down. It's fine. Thermal paste would be another issue. So, number one apprentice. Should I call you number one now? like
Yes.
in Star Trek.
Yes.
So number one, see how they're little pins?
Yeah.
See the heat sinks have these little pins there. They're like little springy things. So if I pick it up, I can actually see I can move that. So don't ever just pick it up. I went to pick up the board just out of habit. I usually pick up around there. See, I got no shame. I'll tell you when I do something wrong. So our memory. Good old memory. So a lot of people call it RAM, but RAM is technically the type of memory that this is. It's actually the little modules of memory that are on the stick there. That's the RAM. The sticks themselves are called DIMMs, or dual inline memory modules. And that's not because they're on both, the memory modules are on both sides. It's because of that little divider halfway down. So it's two modules like that. You can have single-sided DIMMs and dual-sided DIMMs. This is a dual-sided DIMM, but it is a DIMM because it has the divider in there. It's actually two separate modules on the one stick. So fun fact there about RAM. And the other fun fact is obviously why is the RAM always next to CPU, and that's because they're joined at the hip. They're the two things that you have to have connected to the motherboard to make your computer do anything. So if you get rid of either of them, your computer won't do anything. Potentially you don't need anything else connected to it to at least get the posts, get into the BIOS and play around with settings that don't do anything because you don't have anything else to store on your computer. But you can play around with those settings and apply them to your heart's content. Alright, so we're going to put this M2 drive in the bottom slot so it's easy to access the top slot if Kyle wants to install a second SSD. So, our crucial P1. So remember, we can get the read-write speeds on these up above 6 gigabytes a second with the momentum caching software from Micron, which are the company that manufactures the brand Crucial. So they're a massive American company, and they specialize in, the reason why you would never have heard of Micron, or probably haven't heard of Micron, is because they work all in the enterprise space. They provide like massive servers and stuff for big companies and solutions like that. Then Their consumer line is called Crucial, so you might not have heard of them, but they're a massive tech company, and they're one of the few companies that actually produce NAND memory, which is the type of memory that we use on SSDs. So there's only 4 companies, there's only 4 places in the whole world that manufacture that stuff. So basically that's why SSD quality and stuff is, they're all pretty good quality, they're all pretty reliable. I need to clear my throat. Christine's playing with her phone. Just hoping. Just
Yes.
fishing.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking. We all knew what you meant. Alrighty. So that's the motherboard prepped. Nice and easy, so no other cooler put on.
Aaron says after that, thanks for an enjoyable stream. Catch you in the next one.
No worries, Aaron. Have a good one, mate. Alright. So we might have a look at this case. So let's have a look at what we see. So around the outside here, as we can see, it's a mid-tower case. It's the slightly thinner mid-tower case. See how doesn't have quite the length of some of the other ones, and it's just slightly shorter than a full tower. This is kind of like a very interesting shape here. It's almost like full tower height, but mid-tower length. Do you see that? So I kind of like it. So around the back here, I'll point out that at the top 2 slots there we have removable back blanking panels there, and then these other ones are just pop out ones. So in this case we're going to be fine, because slot 1 and 2 here are these removable blanking panels, but we might have to pay attention to the fact that we've got pop out ones down here if we're going to be plugging in our card to slots 2 and 3 instead of slots 1 and 2. So not going to be an issue here, but it's always good to try to remember to push them out beforehand. If not, it's just a slower, more arduous process to break them off when the board's in place and you've got capacitors that you can't hit. So just an FYI there. So it comes with a single 120mm non-RGB fan, I should say, in the back. And let's open it up and let's have a look. And so I'm assuming boarded, and I pull off from the bottom. Ooh, so a very small little gap there where your finger goes to pull that glass panel out. I guess that helps it stay in place really tight. Okay, yep, no, I'm happy with that. No criticism from me. I was going to criticise how it's a panel and that it's easy to fall out, like they're easy to fall out when it's just 4 screws holding it on like that, but it sort of sits in this frame, and because there's only a really small gap there for your finger to pull the glass away, once it sits in there, it's pretty much going to stay in there. It's got like rubber stoppers there that go through the glass. It's pretty, yep, good design. Put these down in my tray here so I don't lose them. And so it looks like we've got some RGB lighting of some sort on the front of the case there. And what's the situation at the back? Do we get any? Is there any included bonuses? Standard bolts. Okay, so no included bonuses. What I was talking about was RGB and fan controllers. Antec do have quite a lot of cases that come with a built-in RGB and fan controller, which is, you know, really yeah, really quite nice to see in cases that are generally like really well priced. Not necessarily the cheapest cases, but for what you get, really good value. So we've got our standard inputs here. So yeah, we've got a SATA power here, which will be for the front RGB lighting. So we get RGB lighting on this panel here, and then we can install obviously RGB fans here at the front, which we do have a 3-pack of RGB fans. So what else we got? Nice kind of like orientation there for the cables. Really going to make it easy for a lot of people to do their cable management. Just having this bit of space here, it allows people to sort of concentrate their cables around through this part and make it's sort of really intuitive, I guess you would say, how to build in this case. So I'd be giving it good marks there. So so far the only criticism I've got is no included fan controller, because we do have the capacity to fit 6 fans in this case, plus potentially up to 2 on the CPU as well. So potentially up to 8 fans. And I mean, if I was installing 8 fans and I didn't have all this PC crap around me that I can get parts from and stuff, you know, that would be a big problem, because I only have 4 fan headers on this motherboard. So then it becomes, oh, I need to buy a fan controller. And then this case, priced at $79, starts looking a little bit more like a $105 case. At which point, Antec has another case for $105 that has the RGB controller already. So, yeah. They're little things to think about there. So, I don't think I'll mark them down too hard on that, but I would have liked to have seen at least like a fan controller, just like a cheap one. Doesn't even have to be anything special. Like just like the ones that Leon Lee give with their fans is alright. Like their regular fans, not the SLs. Yeah. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this case. I'm sure I'll offer it to customers in the future. I've got no qualms with it. Obviously, I have a look at these things and their specs on paper and stuff like that before I buy things. But I sort of reserve my my true opinion of something until I've actually looked at it in person and actually had a good look at it and seen what it is. Oh, one little thing I'm going to mark them down a little bit for. I have to screw in 3 offsets here to fit an ATX board. Yeah, I know. I'm not happy with that. I'd like to see a little guidance bolt here in the middle. I like the guidance bolt. That's a really good feature that makes it so much easier for me, especially if I'm trying to do it while everything's on show. Putting a motherboard in, like, while the case is upright and trying to screw one bolt in is very, very hard, whereas if I've got that guidance bolt, it makes it easier for me to actually put a motherboard in the case like this. So yeah, all in all, pretty good. We've got a single hard drive slot down there. How's that connected? So to access the 3.5-inch slot, this is the same on a few cases. You have to undo a couple of bolts here on the bottom. This would probably confuse a few people with particular cases. And then your tray can slide out. Once your tray is slid out, make sure you remember which way it went in, because you want to have your cables the right way around. So we can just put it down here on a flat surface and we can line up the holes there, and then we just need to screw it in place. So we've got 6 screws on this. And obviously once we get the first 2 in, it becomes a lot easier. And yeah, screwing is one of my favourite and least favourite things to do. My wife's just rolling her eyes at me. Alright, so once we've got our hard drive securely fastened, just go ahead and slide it back in place. I'm going to put it on the, yes, in the right spot, on this one. So we're going to be putting these bolts back in a different position. And the reason is it's going to give us a little bit more room next to our power supply. So there's our 3.5-inch drive all sorted. So we'll get our power supply in here. You love the smell of these, don't you?
I like the smell of the electronics. Reminds me of Dad's.
There you go.
Yeah.
She loves bubble wrap. She's a bubble wrap girl. You don't want to know what I just thought. No, it's nothing like that. It's stupid. You know, I changed the lyrics to songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I called you a bubble wrap girl.
Yeah, I know.
Just think what my brain would have done with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know.
Okay? She's in a certain world, put it that way.
I'm sorry, it's just imagining that. Everything's made out of bubble wrap.
I think you'd really like that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Alrighty, so in this particular case, we have to mount our power supply face now. So there would be an option in a lot of cases to choose which way you orientate your power supply. What's weird is this, the back, get this babe, look at this. That's just solid aluminium. I think I'm gonna have to mark them down for this. So we can only put our power supply on one way, but the holes on the back of the case here are drilled out so you can fit it both ways. So this could potentially be a problem for, you know, I wish people who couldn't think like logically and rationally about what they were doing wouldn't build computers, but guaranteed, because it's both ways, some people will put them in with the fan up there with like hardly any clearance, and then they're gonna be like, my computer overheats and turns off while I'm gaming. Bring it to me, and I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna go, oh shit. Hey, it's happened before.
Mm-hmm.
See, sometimes the best content isn't actually streamed live. It's just people who like walk in, who like I fix their computer in front of them, sort of thing. I don't know how.
Maybe you should get a camera set up downstairs.
I don't know how customers would react. Hey, by the way, you're on camera. You're being filmed. I'm using you as a case study here.
No, I just say it's CCTV and you just blur them out.
Blur them out like they're criminals or something. Criminals or minors in a video where there's criminal acts going on.
But it's kind of criminal if they don't.
Oh shit. Alright. We've got our IO shield, let's put that in place. Modulation fan there. Let's lay it down. Okay. So now I'll put that one bolt in. Oh no, I forgot something, and I'm stupid because I actually called it out, the offsets. And my problem's worse than those three that aren't there, because I've got a large size micro ATX board. So I've got these 6 here, but we also need this one here. And we're going to need this one over here. And so those ones, these ones I can forgive them for. And the reason is because these are the micro ATX specific ones. Whereas this is an ATX case. They've put like the smallest amount of needed ATX bolts in place. Just put the 9 in. Silly bean counters. Alright, so we've got the motherboard with one bolt in there, and the reason why we're going to do that is because we're going to run a few cables behind our motherboard. So another good thing with this case is it has nice flat cables which are nice and easy to run behind our motherboard. As you can see, is that a USB 2 with a nice thin cable? No, this was a USB 2 with a nice thin cable. This is a front panel audio with a nice thin cable. So yes, I greatly appreciate the thin cables there because it allows me to hook things up discreetly. They're also black with no hidden random coloured cables. Another great thing, so this customer is going to get a cleaner looking build this way. And we've got a full assortment here. So we'll start with our HD LED and our reset. And we can plug in our power switch and our power LEDs. Make sure that they are around the right way so we don't have polarity reversed. Oh shit. I just pulled out the power cable. There we go. Very nice. So I don't have anything else to run behind the bottom of the motherboard, I don't think. Oh yeah, I do. I need to run RGB cable. Alright, so we've only got the 3 RGB devices. Going to use these 2 splitters to create one 3 splitter. So by connecting the power for one of them onto one of the outlets of the other, I have now created a 3 device RGB cable. Okay. USB 3, there's nothing we can do about USB 3, it's a chunky boy. And that will just have to be plugged in from the bottom. Oh, that's not the right side of the bolt. Ironically, that offset that I put in there was a non-standard one, and that screw that I thought wasn't going to fit it just perfectly. No, we'll leave the top of the motherboard. Got a couple of things we might route discreetly. Okay, we've got some fans. Yeah. Hey Nick, how you going? Haven't seen you for a while, mate. How you going? How's things? How's things in the hood? Nick's from the hood. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be pretty right here. We've got this included triple splitter. Let us split it. And you can poke this other one behind the board, just like the top here. Put this in right there. Alrighty, now we've got everything we wanted to route behind the board, routed safely. Okay. Sweet as. So I've done a bit of work around there. We've got our motherboard in place. We've got a lot of our cables already sorted. So now, let's worry about these RGB fans. Unplug that there. So if Kyle wants, I've got a couple of used ARGB fans. I could put a used one on the back there for $10 if you want. Like it's not badly used. Like it's still alright, but it's half the price of a new one. Don't cook it yet.
No. I'll put it on, it's alright.
Yeah.
No, it's alright, I'll do it.
She was gonna cook it. She was gonna cook it. Just gonna put it on right now. Have you seen one of my long screwdrivers? Man, I've got 4 of them. Seriously? I don't know.
There, on the floor. So, that's where they go.
Yeah, well, there's no space in here, so you know the situation. What's up?
The amount of followers I got today, there was some sort of event or something.
Oh. Cool. So we're pretty much good for the graphics card and power cables and stuff after this. Sweet as. Alright, sweet as. much room do I have with that back panel? Is it really that tight? Oh no, it'll be right. Okay, so we've got fans and RGB and power. So we're not going to need all of this. So we won't need the Molex. We won't need all the SATAs. Only one SATA. I don't believe we need more than one PCIe cable for this. So we've got our motherboard, graphics card, SATA, and we've already plugged in our CPU. So I'm just going to tie up these excess cables. And we'll stash them away. Excellent. So we've dealt with half the cables there now. We've got a lot less. So our SATA powers. Plug one into our hard drive. And we can just stash that away down there. And then we'll have one more. Where is that sneaky SATA for the RGB on the case? Okay. So I've got this USB 3, so we're going to have to actually just come up through here with that one. And that's just going to have to go up into here, unfortunately. And then our motherboard power. That can come through these very nicely positioned slats on the side. Alrighty. So these fans, let's get the fans. Alright, now we've got 3 RGB cables and the graphics card. Sweet as. Excellent. Hardly any zip ties needed there, and that's all going to fit very nicely. So it's graphics card time. Alrighty. RTX 3060 gaming OC card. Is, and I don't think it's completely covered in plastic. Still got to put some over their brand. I don't care about GeForce RTX. Oh, I don't have the pop-out panels here. I've got to unscrew these guys. Seriously? I would fucking lose my head if it wasn't screwed to my fucking head. This stuck on there. Alrighty. Okay. Okay. So if my calculations are correct, this should just fit on nicely. Yes, it does, but it doesn't like being down. Oh, it's blocky at the bottom. good if it had the like teeth on the side to like guide it and hold it in place. That would have been a nice little addition there. But all in all, pretty good build. I was pretty happy with that. No major issues. Okay. Keyboard and a mouse. Put a plug in that top HDMI port. Because we only want to use the ones coming out of the graphics card here. And last but not least, I need a power cable. Alrighty. The fans are visible. It's just the mesh on the front which will make them disappear. Hey, cool.
Travis's comments on Facebook aren't working.
Comments on Facebook aren't working.
That's kind of weird. I can see it.
Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, hang on. I need to share the screen so people can see what I'm talking about. It's. We'll let Christine do it. Alright. So we'll select our box cooler here.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, now I'll do that one.
1.4. Let's see. I should have the BIOS on my SSD.
Travis is it's not showing up here. Jody says what's up here.
Hey man, how you going? There, we're just finishing up this build here. Alrighty. Oh, it's already got the right one. Look at that, it's already got the right one. So we can go ahead and make sure. Why are we going back into flash mode? Oh no. There we go. Okay, CPU, pulse width modulation. Okay. Oh no, I forgot a SATA cable to that hard drive. That's okay. Where's my phone? So I took a picture of that key. Cover that up. Alrighty. plug in some internet. Yeah.
This is the front of that case. Looks good. What's the case worth?
It's only $79, but you do need to buy your own RGB fans for the front of it. Alrighty. Alright, none of this will take long to download. Sweet as. So we'll get what we need from the App Store. R23. Okay. What?
And Travis says me and the missus have another bubble on the way, so I had to prioritise for next build. Baby is due in December. Apparently she can't hold it until February.
Alrighty. So let's put down some custom desktop icons so we keep everything organized when we install all this stuff. No Acronis. No. There's our graphics card driver. Okay, MSI afterburner. What's up? Yeah, we're nearly done. BIOS is all up to date. Alright, I think we got everything. Okay, it's coming along. Let's turn off some of these things. So that should be all up to date through there. Yep. Let's set our time. Sweet as. There's our SATA hard drive. Hard drive all ready to go, and now we'll just be doing a final restart here. So this might take a little while to restart 'cause it's still doing the rest of the Windows updates. They read our thoughts. No. What have we got here? Okay. Sweet as. One PC ready to go. There'll be a couple of cumulative updates here. Alrighty, while it's doing that, let's see what this puppy can do. That's what fucking Linus says. I was trying to think of something other than, say other than bad boy. These cats are cool. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, so we've got our 10105, which is the refresh of the 10100. Clocked higher out of the box. And so this is where a 10105 sits. So as you can see, it's roughly on par with an i7 6700K in terms of its single core performance, and sits roughly in line with its cousins there. And if we want to compare it to a similar Ryzen CPU, it's literally just a little bit below a Ryzen 3500 and 3600. just a fraction, a couple of percent below those chips there, which are considered to be pretty good gaming CPUs. I mean, you type in, is Ryzen 5 3600 a good gaming CPU? And the answer will be yes. And as you can see, they're very, very similar result, but half the price. So if we look at multi-core and we go like for like, so we can see it sitting there roughly on par with an i7 7700K. So shows how far we've come in 3 generations. But the i3 is equivalent to an old i7 from 7th gen. And then yeah, beating 3400G and 2500X from Ryzen there as well. So not a bad little CPU. So, and as you can see, everything's set up nice and fast here, no problems. Looks like Windows wants to do one more restart. I'll just get that out of the way now. And then we'll have a look at some gaming benchmarks. Alright. So I'll open up hardware monitor, open up crystal disk info. So this is a really handy app if you want to see how your storage devices are performing, see how old they are and stuff. So you can see here power on count, power on hours, so you can literally see how long your hard drive's been running for. And same with your SSD. SSDs will even give a readout of how much health they have left. So hard drives won't have that, but there are values down here that you can look at. So some of the ones that you would expect to see on 0, things like reallocated sector count, spin retry count. And so what we're looking at, for just a little point to note here, what we're looking at is these raw values. So these are hexadecimal values. So if you don't know what hexadecimal is, I suggest you look it up, but essentially it is a number system where 0 is 0, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4, 5 is 5, 6 is 6, 7 is 7, 8 is 8, 9 is 9, 10 is A, 11 is B, 12 is C, 13 is D, 14 is E, and 15 is F. So instead of a 0 to 9, like 1 to 10 number system, it's a 0 to 15 number system. So to write to write 16 in hexadecimal would be yeah. Sorry, I had a mental break there. Christine just answered the question. So yeah, that's how hexadecimal works. So you can look it up in your own time. It's used a lot in various computer applications and stuff like that. If you ever used the old action replays for Game Boy, you probably remember keying in hexadecimal codes into that. But yeah, hexadecimal is something that you'll see over and over again in computers. So that's what all the letters mean in here. If you're wondering what the fuck 1FC actually is. So anyway, let's go to Crystal Disk Mark, make sure our boot drive is working with the momentum cache enabled. So we should be seeing like between 6 and 8 gigabytes a second. Yep. While that's doing that, I'm going to set up MSI Afterburner. Ooh, there was an error installing it, eh? That's okay. Fortunately, it's just an application. Okay, so it's looking nice and fast. If we want to see our hard drive speed, just for shits and giggles, you'll see why hard drive is only used for storage in this day and age. Alright, let's tune our graphics card fans. That's roughly the shape I like. Sweet. Okay, let's give our first one a go. Oh, let's have a laugh. Look at these speeds here. This is where it's really crippling, down here. And this is what happens when you need to move like heaps of random stuff. You'll see you ever watched files transfer? And you see it's going like nice and fast, then it drops down and goes like 1.5 megabytes a second. Yeah, well, this is what's testing. It's testing those different types of information, file types being moved around. And so yeah, totally crippling down here. Alright, so I'll run Heaven now on the out of the box settings. So this value here below RAM is how many frames per second it's running at. does. So that's running as expected. We'll run Valley, and we'll run it on Ultra as we always do with max anti-aliasing. essentially. Now the final one we do is our 4K benchmark, and it's also DirectX 12. okay results. So, we are all but ready to just stress test this. What do I call it? I call it something. My wife looks very tired. I'm looking at her for like inspiration. You're making me tired too. I've started this when I shouldn't have. New version of Furmark. We'll get onto that later. Righty. So we'll set up our stress test, do a 90-minute run here. And we will do a quick explanation for what's going on. Okay, so this is our stress test. So we monitor our temperatures here in Hardware Monitor. This just logs and tracks everything, while we are putting the CPU and graphics card at 100% load. So over here in Cinebench we can see 8 boxes that are drawing this picture, and we can see the 4 cores and 8 threads of our CPU here also in blue boxes. These are literally, this is literally what all of these cores are working on. We can see it visually represented. So that's it drawing the image, that's it showing you how hard it's working. Our graphics card, much the same. Our graphics card is rendering this 3D image. It's a very complicated image, it's a lot of floating point operations and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what the graphics card's hard at work doing. And so we run this for 90 minutes to just make sure everything's running okay. So put our graphics card temperatures there, no issues there at all, and our CPU sitting there in the 70s. And it's still sitting there at 4.2. So that's pretty impressive. A little CPU that could. So this is where it gets pretty boring, because I normally go away and make some dinner and all that kind of stuff while I let it run. So if anyone has any other final questions for me before I sign off, now's your time to ask. Alright, I'll just give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, I do like the pattern on the front of that case, eh? That looks really cool. Now, looks like that's pretty much the end of the night. So, well, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next video.